Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and another Cricut tutorial on how to make my latest layered design SVG. This design is perfect for birthday cards and it's a happy birthday design which can be cut fairly small so that you can fit it on all of those greetings cards. You can download the free cutting file for this project at craftwithsarah.com/free-SVGs or follow the link in the description of this video to go straight to the download page. The download comes in a zip folder and you need to unzip this before you can upload the files into Cricut Design Space. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, head to Cricut Design Space and start a new project. Click Upload over on the left and then Upload Image. You can then either click Browse or you can drag and drop the file in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the folder, and the file to upload for Cricut Design Space is the one which starts SVG in the file name. Make sure you choose that one because the other file types won't work in Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to drag that in, and it should look like this once it's uploaded with all the layers appearing on top of each other. If yours looks different and you can see the layers side by side instead, that means you've accidentally uploaded the wrong file. So if that's the case, click Cancel down on the bottom and start again, and make sure you upload the one which starts SVG in the file name. Click on Upload and then the image will appear in your recent uploads. Click on it to get the green border around and then press Add to Canvas. You can now resize the design using the width and height boxes at the top of the screen. Make sure the little padlock icon is closed so that when you resize it, it changes the width and height in proportion. If your padlock is open, simply click it with your mouse to close it. For my design, I'm going to make it 7.5 inches wide, and then if I hit Enter on the keyboard, you see the width changed in proportion too. All of the layers are down in the Layers panel on the right hand side, and if you want to, you can change the colours easily by clicking on a layer, let's go for this yellow balloon, and changing the colours over in this box here. I'm just going to undo that though, as I'm going to cut mine from the colours that are already shown. When you're happy with how the design is looking, click Make It over on the top right, and then it will spit out all of the different colours. This design is really great for using up your scraps of cardstock. So if you've got any little bits lying about that you weren't sure what to do with, but obviously you wouldn't throw them away because we're crafters and we don't throw anything away. What you can do is you can drag and drop the shapes around on the mat so that you can then use your scraps to cut it from. If you had a long thin piece, you could maybe do something like this to get it to fit on that scrap piece. So go ahead and change all of the different ones. You do need to look at each colour individually. And if you want to change the paper size, you can do that in this drop down too. When you've finished reordering and rearranging, click Continue. That'll connect to your Cricut machine and then follow the instructions on screen to get everything cut out from your cardstock. Here is the birthday design all cut out, and I've just laid everything on top of each other to check that, one, I haven't lost anything along the way, and two, that I'm happy with how all the colours are looking. Now I know I'm happy with it, I can start to take the layers apart and just move them over to the side, because with all of these layer designs that I make, we start at the bottom and work our way upwards. I'm trying to keep all the little balloons together so that I know which bit goes with which. What I might actually do first while I'm here is these little bunting pieces. So move those two off and then get my foam squares. And any kind of foam squares will work for this project. I like these ones. They're from a brand called Dot and Dab and they look like this. I like these ones because they're really small, so they fit into most places. But if your foam pads are big, then just use a pair of scissors to cut them smaller so that you can fit them into these places. And I just stuck that one in the wrong place. So what you're supposed to be doing is lining the triangles up with the bottom of the yellow triangle so that you then get a line of yellow along the top to look like the string on the bunting. Do the same on these ones, so just one little foam square on each of them. Peel the tops off. This one's being stubborn. And then line up those bottoms. And number 2. Alright, so there's those little teeny tiny pieces done before we start anything else, otherwise I know I was going to lose them. So the next bit we've got is going to create the outline around the main background, and I'm going to foam square this one too. Ooh, getting all tangled. So let's turn it upside down and add some foam to the back. When you're adding foam squares to the backs of pieces of card for layered designs, as well as going around the edge like I'm doing now, you also want to make sure that you put some foam squares in the middle, especially with bigger bits of card that are going to have lots of layers on top of them. And that's to create a nice, stable level for it to sit on. If you didn't put any pieces in the middle, then you'll find that the cardstock will dome down either under its own weight or under the weight of the layers that are going to stick on top of it. And we don't want that to happen. We want it to be nice and flat. So definitely take the time to put those bits of foam in the middle. Now I'm going to peel the tops off of all of these to release that stickiness underneath. Now I can bring my base piece back, and then I'm going to stick this on top. So I'm going to line it up with these balloons over here. And to start with, you want to just gently get it into position and then slowly drop it down. And don't put any pressure on it, just let it fall. And the reason we're doing that is it means this is just so gently placed on that if we had made a mistake and it wasn't quite lined up right, you could pick it up and take it off without damaging anything and then give it another try. But actually, I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. So I'm just going to push down on all of those foam squares and get a really good stick. The next layer is this one here. And you could use foam or glue for this one, but because there's only a thin layer of colour around the edge, I'm going to use glue because I worry that if I put foam on it, then the level of shadowing you're going to get between the two layers with the depth is going to cover up too much of that yellow and make it look a bit darker than I want it to. So I'm going to use glue to eliminate that shadowing for this layer. The glue I'm using is called Collal. I really like it because it doesn't bend or wrinkle the cardstock like other glues can do. I buy this in the UK, but in the USA, 2 great glue brands to use are Art Glitter Glue and Barely Art Glue. And I like to put it in these tiny needle tip applicator bottles, which I buy on Amazon. And these are amazing because they're so narrow that you can get the glue in all of the little spaces. So I'm going to be able to glue these little streamers on the balloons really, really easily without any mess. You can see that it just glides straight through and it works perfectly. All the way around here. I just had a little panic then, did you notice? I thought I hadn't turned it upside down and I was putting glue on the wrong side, but actually I think I'm okay. I have done that so many times though. There's my main design, and then I can put this on top. And again, I'm going to line up the balloons as my guide. And then that sits on there. And you just get that extra level of colour with the darker yellow to add a bit of detail. Alright, next we're going to do the balloons. So I'll go left to right, and we've got these 2 to start with, and we're going to go with the solid layers first, and if I can pick it up, these ones are going to be foamed on, so just checking I've got them the right way round, and then I'll add some foam. Now you're not going to be able to get any foam in the little ribbons on these balloons, they're just too narrow, and in fact they've actually got a little bit tangled. There we go. So don't worry about that. It will still work out really well, and actually it looks quite nice with the little dangly ribbon bits falling down a bit onto the layer below. It just looks a little bit more realistic. So I'm gonna place that one on there. And then the next layer is the pink border. And if you don't want to add these border layers, you don't need to. They're just to give it that extra bit of detail. But if they're a little bit fiddly with all of those thin edges, then you can leave them out and just have the solid ones. There is that one. And I like how the ribbons don't quite line up right, just because they've got no adhesive on them. It just makes it look like there's more ribbons and more colours, and it looks really pretty. Okay, next we have the solid purple, and this is another foam layer. So with all of this foam, those balloons are just gonna pop right off. Okay, so this one's gonna go over there. The outline to be glued on there. And this is really narrow in part of that streamer, so be careful that you don't accidentally tear it off. Gonna line that up. And you don't want to push down too hard with these outline layers because you don't want the glue to smush itself out. Alright, I'm gonna go for the top balloons next, and we've got 3 colours this time. So we'll start again with the bottom, which is the biggest sections, and this has got a solid one there, which I'm going to, I could glue it, and then all the top balloons will end up at the same height, or I could foam it and then these balloons will be taller than everything else. Just having a think. I think I'm going to glue it. But you could do either, and when I make the assembly guide PDF, which will be included in your download folder, I'll make sure to put that that one is optional if you want to glue it or foam it. But the outline layer to go on top, you definitely do want to glue, just because it's got this really thin border. There we are. And then next is the pink. And now we'll get the foam back. The nice thing about these pieces is they are quite small, so they don't need many foam pads. And this is a great design to use up your scraps of cardstock, because you can just use little bits of the colours when you're cutting it out to get all of these balloon shapes. Outline of the pink next. There. And then my yellow balloon. And then I'm just going to check this is the right way around because I just kind of flicked it with my finger. So I didn't want to put the glue on the wrong side, although it is actually pretty symmetrical, so I probably would have been okay. But it's always better to check before you put the glue on rather than regret it later. Okay, there's that, and I'm actually glad I glued that bottom layer because I like that it's all kind of worked out the same height in the end. And then just these 2 left. There. And then we have the border, so just like all those other balloons, this will be a glue layer. One balloon left, which is this red one. And if you were making this to go on a greetings card and you didn't want it to be so thick, you could either use thinner foam squares, so you can get ones which are just 1mm thick, which give a little bit of depth without making it too thick to go in a normal envelope or a normal postage stamp, or you could leave out the foam entirely and just glue everything, and you'll still get all the prettiness of all the colours, but you won't have to pay extra for your postage. The only thing we've got left to do now is the happy birthday, and I'm going to align all of these pieces up before I start sticking anything, because otherwise you run into the chance that you start sticking it too far over and then you can't fit the rest of the word on. We do not want that to happen. So, okay, I'm happy with that. And then you can choose if you want to glue or foam square these letters. I'm going to foam them. So let's put some on the back of this happy. And this is another part where you need to be careful with your foam squares, because if any of your foam goes over the edges of these letters, or if it goes in any of the middles of the P's or the A, you'll be able to see the foam when you turn it over, and we don't want that. We don't want to be able to see the white of the foam from the other side. So let's bring this in and then carefully lie it down, and again I'm just doing this really gently, and I've moved that B in the eye by mistake. You can kind of follow the curve of the yellow bit underneath to know where to stick it. So there's that one, and now for birthday. I am going to foam this as well. I might need to cut my foam pads smaller though. I think I do. So just with a pair of scissors, just go down them, cut them in half. They cut pretty easily. And now these are going to be really, really small and hard to use. But as it is small, as in the letters are small, you don't need very many of them. So at least that's a bonus. This might take me a little while. So that is my happy birthday layered design all finished, and it's then ready to go on a greetings card or to be put straight up on the wall or in a shadow box, or this would also be really nice used as a cake topper, so you could stick it on a wooden skewer, possibly 2 wooden skewers because it is quite big, and then just stick it in the top of a cake for that really nice kind of extra special finish to it. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make a layered happy birthday design with your Cricut machine. If you did, please give it a thumbs up using the little button underneath the video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more layered designs and Cricut craft tutorials. Thank you for watching. Bye!